Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty cool, a system for transforming your life that's actually borrowed from, of all places, the high-stakes world of surgery. It's all about a simple tool that can totally change the game when it comes to hitting your goals.
All right, to really get this, let's start with a story. Picture this.
Okay, so you're in a modern operating room. You know the scene. The bright lights, the beeping monitors, and a whole team of absolute experts. Surgeons, nurses, anesthesiologists, all ready to go. And this is a routine operation. You know, something they've done 1,000 times. Everyone's calm, cool, and collected. But here's the thing. Even with all that brain power in the room, there's this hidden danger that statistics tell us is very, very real.
So, what is that danger? You might be surprised. It has nothing to do with a lack of skill. Nope. It's a simple, common human flaw, one that you and I have too, especially when things get stressful.
So what's the fix? Well, the answer, and really the whole secret we're going to unpack today, it all boils down to a single moment and a surprisingly simple piece of paper. So, right in the middle of all the prep, a junior nurse speaks up. She asks a really simple question about whether the blood supply is ready. And suddenly, there's this pause. You know that feeling? The one where everyone in the room realizes they all assume someone else took care of it. But instead of panicking, the team just turns to their system. Pinned to the wall is a 19-step checklist. And, yep, there it is, a little line item that confirms the mistake. The blood is not ready. A quick phone call is made, and just like that, a total disaster is avoided.
And look, this isn't just some nice little story. When this idea was rolled out to hospitals all over the globe, the results were just mind-blowing. Patient deaths after surgery plummeted by nearly half, a 47% drop. I mean, think about that. That's a staggering number of lives saved.
And here's the visual proof right here. Major complications, they dropped by more than a third. It's just such a powerful, undeniable example of what happens when brilliant people decide to trust a simple system instead of just relying on their own memory. So this gets you thinking, right? If these absolute top-tier experts need a safety net like this, what does that say about us, in our day-to-day lives?
Well, it all boils down to one simple idea. We're all human. The checklist doesn't exist because surgeons are bad at their jobs. It exists because they're human. When the pressure is on, our brains are wired to forget the small, obvious stuff to focus on the big thing. It's a feature, not a bug. But sometimes, those obvious details are the ones that matter most.
And you see this everywhere in high-stakes jobs. Just think about airline pilots. A captain could have 20,000 hours in the cockpit, but she is still going to run through that pre-flight checklist every single time. Why? Because you just don't leave the basics up to chance. And that's the real takeaway here. The real flex, It isn't having a perfect, flawless memory. The real flex is being smart enough to build systems so you don't need one. It's about protecting yourself from your own brain. Okay, so how do we take this incredibly powerful idea and actually use it? Let's run with this analogy. Think of your life as its own operating room. Because, really, every single day, you're performing high-stakes surgery on your own future. The parallel is perfect, isn't it? The surgeon's job is to prevent a disaster for the patient. Your job is to prevent self-sabotage in your own life. With your health, your money, your career, your relationships, the stakes are just as high. So if you've ever felt stuck or totally overwhelmed, or you just keep making the same mistakes over and over, this should be a light bulb moment. The problem probably isn't you. It's not a lack of discipline or willpower. It's a systems problem. You just don't have the right checklist in place. All right, so let's get to the good stuff. Here's the solution. We're talking about a personal system, your own version of that surgical checklist, but this one is designed to handle the 3 most important parts of your life. We call it the triple checklist, and it's so much more than a simple to-do list. This is a framework that helps you manage 3 different levels of your life. Execution, what you actually get done today. Expansion, how you're growing. And evolution, who you are becoming as a person.
Okay, first up, the to-do checklist. Think of this as your daily safety check. And listen, this is not the place for your laundry list of 100 little errands. No, this is for the vital few things that prevent the day from being a total wash. Things like, did I get in 20 minutes of movement? Did I protect some focus time for my most important project? These are the non-negotiables that make sure today counts.
All right, second is the to-want checklist. This one is all about growth. Its whole purpose is to stop you from living the exact same year on repeat. So the questions here are about expansion. Did I learn one new thing? Did I reach out and connect with someone? Did I take one tiny risk or try a new idea? This is the list that pushes your boundaries, even just a little, every day.
And finally, number 3, the 2B checklist. This is the deepest level. This is where your daily actions connect to your identity, the person you want to be. The questions here are bigger. Did I act with integrity? Did I keep a promise I made to myself? When something tough happened, did I respond thoughtfully instead of just reacting? This is the checklist that makes sure you're intentionally building your character.
Now, I know this might sound like a lot, but the real beauty of this whole system is how simple and quick it is. Seriously, you can make this a habit in just about 5 minutes a day. Here's how.
It's a really simple daily rhythm. In the morning, you take maybe 2 minutes to look at your list and pick just 1 or 2 priorities from each. That's it. Then, during the day, you just glance at it to keep yourself on track, kind of like a pilot checking their instruments. And at night, you spend 3 minutes checking off what you did. And this is key. You do it without judgment. You're just a scientist, collecting data on what works and what doesn't. Look, on any given day, ticking a few boxes might not feel like a big deal. It feels small, but that's the magic of it. When you compound those small, consistent wins over weeks, months, and years, the transformation is anything but small. It's profound.
And here's what's going to happen. A few years down the line, people will look at how far you've come, and they'll say things like, wow, you have incredible discipline, or you're just built different. But you'll know the secret, right? You didn't become some kind of superhuman. You just became someone who was smart enough to stop relying on a faulty memory and start trusting a simple, powerful system.
So when you get right down to it, the proof is everywhere. These kinds of systems work. They work in operating rooms, they work in cockpits, they prevent disasters, and they guarantee progress. Your life is your operating room. The only real question is, are you going to use the checklist?